So we got a ban list update today. Thank you, Thaigo Nakamura. I hope I'm not butchering that, for pointing this out to me in the comments. So today, effective on Wednesday, the 11th of October, the following new cards are banned: Baral, Chief of Compliance; Demonic Tutor; Emrakul; Enlightened Tutor; Imperial Seal; Mystic Tutor; and Vampiric Tutor. And the following cards are removed from the ban list: Arkham Dagson and Yissen the Wandering Bard. So, yeah, these, I think they missed some cards here. I'm not going to lie. I'm okay with most of these bans. I'm surprised that they actually banned Baral. I would think that just getting rid of Emrakul would be enough, but, you know, I don't... It's kind of an unfun, non-interactive deck. I do understand it's just not... It's not the kind of deck I think they want to promote in the format. And so I can't say I blame them on that one. And then Emrakul, that one, I mean, like all the other Eldrazi are much more fair than the, you know, Perfection from All Colors, 15/15, Annihilator 6 flying. Like, there are so many, you can deal with all the other Emrakul a lot better than you, or all the other Eldrazi a lot better than you can than this Emrakul. And so I definitely understand. I was surprised they let it in the format when they first announced the ban list. And after letting it run wild for a little bit, I'm not surprised at all to see it go. And then they got rid of a lot of tutors. So that's interesting. I think that's going to be pretty difficult for combo decks. There's just not going to be as much consistency in your combo decks. I think this is kind of like the death knell for Sidisi, probably. I mean, you still have Sidisi as a tutor, but I mean, that's 3 tutors from the deck, including all of the most efficient ones. So that's pretty significant. I'm going to be sad to see Demonic Tutor go. I'm not going to lie. Mystic Tutor is, you know... So notably, we still get Enlightened Tutor, we still get Worldly Tutor, and we still get Gamble. No, not many decks are playing Gamble. Not many decks are playing Worldly Tutor, but if you play... Oh no, Enlightened Tutor is banned. I'm sorry. Enlightened Tutor is also banned. So yeah, Worldly Tutor and Gamble are the ones that stick around. And then the cards that are unbanned are Arkham Dagson and Yissen the Wanderer Bard. And are these linkable? So Arkham is the one that lets you tinker. And he's 4 mana. That's probably a pretty fair card to have in this format, honestly. And then Yissen is actually, I think, is going to be really good. I think you can build a really efficient deck around Yissen, and I'm going to have to try sometime really, really soon. So that should be pretty interesting to see Yissen in the format. Now, the cards I think they miss, and I've said this a million times, the Moxen should not be in the format. They're just, you know, I mean, when you're a turn 2, I've dealt with turn 2 Breyas before, and turn 2 Queen Marchesa's, maybe turn 3 Queen Marchesa's, and, you know, turn 2 Tymna's. And the cards that are playing Moxen are way too easy for them to get back that card advantage. And yeah, they're not consistent because you only get 2 in a 100 card deck, and you're not going to see them all the time. But that's the problem with them, is they lead to too much variance, where the times that you do draw them are, you know, it's just really brutal for your opponent. And I think it's just too much variance. They should not be in the format. The mana ramp should be, you know, the turn 1 mana ramp should be principally in green. It should not be used the turn it comes into play. And, you know, a lot of times subject to creature removal, you know, those kind of things. You know, it costs mana to cast an elf, those kind of, you know, and I think those Moxen were really hurting Green's ability to ramp because, you know, I think they got a big miss on Breya here. I think Breya needs to go. I know she hasn't been performing super well in the format right now, but she's still an oppressive commander, and I think she should get banned. I think they should do something with partners. I don't know if it's just banning Tymna, or there's something else they can do with partners, or something like that. I don't know, but something partners are obliterating the format, and I don't think this solves the problem. It might actually make it worse because Tymna decks aren't relying on Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. They might run them, but they're not relying on them the way that decks like Leovold and, you know, even Breya and, you know, other decks like that use that to get really good cards. Tymna just has a whole bunch of efficient cards, and they don't care what they get, and they're using their card draw, and you know, so I think this might actually make it worse because they miss that big section of the format that's actually like the worst section of the format right now is, you know, the Tymna decks, and nothing on this list hurts those decks at all, and it hurts all the other decks that might be holding those decks down. So I think that would be pretty bad. And then honestly, I think if they want to fix the format, they should ban Force of Will and Daze. This may be a little controversial, but I really think that it should be a mana up format as far as counter spells go. You still have Snuff Out, you still have some bad blue free counters and stuff like that, but the really, really good, efficient blue free counter spells that every deck is playing, like, you can't play around those a lot of times, and they just, I think they hurt the format. I think there's no, it's not Vintage where you have, you know, like it can be a turn one format and you have to have Force of Will to keep the format fair. Like, you can't say that for this format because, you know, 100 card singleton, there's no consistency, even if you could come up with a turn one deck. And if you came up with a turn one deck, they just ban whatever card was causing it to be a turn one deck. So I don't think there's a good excuse for keeping Daze and Force of Will in the format. I think it would be a lot more interesting, interactive, if blue decks were required to keep mana untapped in order to counterspell, or even in order to bluff counterspells. Because sometimes just like, do they have the Force of Will or do they have the Daze might cause you to play differently just because those cards exist in the format. And if you take them out of the format, I think it will hurt blue a lot because, and you know, but not cripple blue, just make blue more fair. And so I honestly think those are the cards that are the worst cards in the format are Force of Will and Daze. And I'd like to see them banned. I think it would be a more interesting, more interactive format without those cards. But here we have the list right now. I mean, it's some interesting changes. I think some of them are good. Again, I think they missed on some of them. I'm excited about Yisan. I'm sure other people are excited about Arkham Dragson, and I might try that out myself. I don't know if it's necessarily my style of deck, but Yisan definitely is my style of deck. You know, I'm glad to see Emrakul go. I can't say I'm sad to see Baral go. The Tutors I'm a little bit sad to see go, but I do understand where they're coming from there. At least people can't Mystical Tutor for Force of Will anymore, so that might help a little bit. All right, thank you for watching. You guys have a good one.